All right. The too long didn't watch of the stream we just did. So it had been a few days since I played Elden Ring, maybe even a week on stream, not counting the few times that I've turned it on at the end of the day. But because it wasn't on stream, I was just playing and just trying to explore different parts without really like progressing too much. So I was really grateful, Horky, that you were here to not only remind me what I had just done, but clue me in on the ways to continue what I'd done before. So doing that quest, Lanny's quest, led to the big fight with Radahn. There was a big build-up, and it really didn't feel... It felt like it was a little too easy and a little too hands-off. I didn't really have to learn any of his attacks. It was a big, beautiful set piece, and it was really unlike any other fight I've ever done in a From Software game. It kind of felt like an MMORPG or something. It was the way you're summoning all these characters. It was you and like 6 or 7 other people fighting, but also being on a horse too. Those are the two things that really made it not feel like a From Software fight. When you're in a Dark Souls battle or Bloodborne or Sekiro, it's you and the boss is trying to kill only you. The boss never takes their attention off you. So being able to summon all these people, having the boss not looking at you and not really doing a lot of area attacks or 360-degree attacks or 180-degree, really made it a lot easier to come in and get your hits when you needed and go and heal when you needed. Having the horse means you could really quickly get away and heal whenever you wanted, which has always been a big challenge of From Software bosses. You're like learning to recognize their attack for when is a good time to heal. And I didn't have to learn any of that. I didn't have to learn any of his attacks. It was epic, but it did feel a little unearned the way that they built up like they'd never done in one of their games before. All these characters talking about this huge challenge of this boss. And then when you beat him, all the characters telling you about how epic it was. And yeah, it looked epic, but it didn't really feel like it. And then getting 70,000 runes, and you feel like, I didn't really earn that. I just happened to get that. And that's a big difference between a From Software game and your modern AAA game, where it's that challenge or putting the emphasis on the player to put the clues together, whether that's where to go next in the story as opposed to just having a marker on the map, or talk to NPCs and kind of almost read between the lines, or try to parse the information they're giving you from what they're saying, as opposed to them just talking to somebody, hammering through all the dialogue, and it's just giving you an icon or a boss that is really just a matter of time instead of actually really having to learn what they're going to do. Well, you didn't have to do it. Brought to you by beer. Yeah. The Blanche from Unibrau, a Belgian-style wheat ale. So that was, that was quite shocking. And then the platforming. Yeah, the platforming is not as bad as I thought it would be. You don't really jump a lot to really internalize the jumping like range and height. So it can be a little sketchy when you're trying to jump down and not really knowing. Like, you know how in Mario Maker it makes sense because you could watch somebody play Mario Maker and you know the language of Mario. You know what they can do, the arc of their jump and everything. I think at one point I even tried to jump and then press the directional joystick over instead of moving and then jumping. And then you also jump on a horse too, which has a different arc on it, and it has the double jump. But like you say many times, is that the fall damage, sometimes you see a fall and you think, I don't see any other way to get down there except this one fall, but that must kill me, and it doesn't. And then there's other times you just jump down, and it's just right over the threshold of where it would have done a bit of damage or no damage, and then boom, it's a few feet more, and you're dead. And the double jump will not reset that insta-kill. No. Even though you want it to. And it should. The magical horse double jumps. We can't get rid of all that inertia. Once energy is created, it cannot be destroyed. It must be transferred onto you. Double jump or no fucking double jump. And now we're in this other beautiful place. So, Elden Ring gave me a lot today. It gave me a really great catacomb. I love the catacombs. They feel like the shrines from Breath of the Wild, where they're small. The visuals of it are copy-pasted. The enemies, it's kind of a mix of like a shrine and one of those caves, or I don't even know what they're called anymore, but in Skyrim, the little temples, pits, caves, with all the tombs along the side carved into the rock. It reminds me of Skyrim, but just the way they all kind of look visually the same reminds me of a shrine in Breath of the Wild. And how they tend to have like a bit of a quirk. There's something you need to figure out. That reminds me of the shrines. And then they usually have a boss, and then sometimes even a secret boss. And I like that they're short, so you're more willing to experiment in them. And they're just a way of kind of like breaking up they're just breaking up everything else going on. Yeah, it's a heavy game. There's not a lot of nice people to talk to. That's why it's nice to go to that round table. And it was really cool doing that, what seems like on paper a simple quest of talking to a character and giving an item to another, but having to really listen to what they're saying. And it just feels like more of a discovery. So overall, still really liking it. Still finding great new things. The challenge isn't too bad. You know, I haven't gotten to points where I feel like I'm hitting my head against anything as much as I would, or I would expect to in Sekiro or any other run, really. So I'll keep going. I feel like I've hit a good point with this weapon and my leveling, that it seems like every place I go to, I can kill an enemy in 3 swings. Whereas when I first got to the part of the game where, you know, maybe like 10, 15 hours ago, when the map first opens up, it felt like everywhere I went to, every enemy was just too tough for me. It was interesting to see them, because having this big open world really plays into From Software's strength, or Miyazaki's strengths, of you're constantly seeing new villains that have crazy designs. Just, there's so much love and detail put into that stuff, and it's so odd. And then you've got also their ability to just show you little secrets and weird things, and you're constantly rewarded by going off the beaten path and exploring and doing all this platforming. Yeah, the Tree Sentinel was definitely like a big... He was like, they might as well have called him the Tree Demon. The Horse Demon. Well, that's that.